What was it like being a non-technical co-founder back on your 4-person team where all the other founders happened to be technical?
So when we started Justin TV, I was the business guy. Kyle did the hardware engineering. Emmett did back end, and Justin did front end. And basically, before we launched, my job was just to make sure that the little apartment we lived in was as functional as possible. So I would cook dinner, I would help do food shopping, I would help clean, little tasks around setting up our bank account. Basically, I felt as though my job was just to not get in the way. Sometimes I was more successful at that than others. I think sometimes I would engage in debates or have opinions about things that were completely useless, and actually became a center of whatever the opposite of productivity is, non-productivity. I also think sometimes I didn't model behavior correctly. There was this horrible incident where I didn't have anything to do for the better part of 3 days. And so I just sat on the couch with my headphones on, watching like 6 seasons of Scrubs, maybe, and laughing out loud the whole time, which, needless to say, was not inspiring to my co-founders. So I wish I had done better at that. But my kind of core role was to enable them. And then once we launched, kind of my core role was to do everything that wasn't software. And so that was helping plan interesting things on the show, doing deals like to get us, I think we did a couple deals to get some sponsorships, answering customer service emails, dealing with press and PR. I kind of felt like I just had to be a backstop for everything that wasn't tech. The other thing that I thought was really important was that because I was living with the guys and because, our dad was an engineer, I wanted to understand how the technology worked. And what was cool was that by living with them, interacting with them, and kind of being very comfortable around computers and technology, over time I actually learned how everything worked. And that was ridiculously valuable later on. And I still remember this time when I had to explain how the video system worked. And by that point, Kyle moved from hardware and he made the video system. And I was explaining to someone, maybe it was an investor or something, how the video system worked. At the end of the presentation, Kyle sat me down and he was like, "That's exactly what I would have said." And I was like, wow, okay, great. I feel like I got it. That's awesome. I think that the other interesting thing about being in that environment was that even though I was a business guy, I kind of made a decision that I wanted the company to be a technology company, not a business company. So, we were doing this, started as an online reality TV show, moved to this platform for streaming live video. And I kind of felt like this is a tech company. And so I want to make sure we're leading with tech. I want to make sure that we're leading with building interesting features and having an interesting product, not having the best biz dev deals or having a bunch of business people around the office. And, that worked for me. And I think that kind of I built this ethos that in the technology world, tech can be your differentiator. And one of the things that I've always seen is that people think that they can get great biz dev deals as startups, but they don't really realize that no one has any incentive to do a deal with you when you don't have anything to provide. And certainly they don't have incentive to do a deal with you that you're going to like. And so, the kind of secret sauce is almost always, if you can, to make progress on the engineering side and with the user. And I fully embrace that mindset, which is really helpful. I think the tricky bit now is that I talk to a lot of non-technical founders who actually downplay tech. This isn't a tech company, it's a tech-enabled company. It's something that I hear a lot. Or, I don't really need engineers. I can just use, some outsourced consultants or outsourced engineers. Tech isn't the focus. And I always think when someone says that to me, what I want to do mentally is put them in this experiment and basically say, okay, you're the investor now. You're looking at yourself without tech trying to build this company. And on the other hand, there are 3 great software engineers who are also interested in this space, and you're competing with them. Who do you give money to? And suddenly, those tech-enabled businesses look a lot better when they have technical co-founders and when they can build their own technology. And I just think that this is like such an important message, because oftentimes the number one thing I tell a non-technical founder who's having a hard time finding co-founders who are engineers is go work at a startup and go make friends with software engineers. And, struggling for 2 years and blowing all of your savings with an outsourced dev team versus spending 2 years making friends with software engineers at a startup and then starting a company with them, like option 2 is often a lot more fruitful than option 1. And it's tricky, right? Someone who's like, I'm ready to go right now, to tell them, hey, maybe you need to wait. But, this is a long game. This startup game is a long game. It takes a long time to make a company work. It takes a long time to make a product that users love. And so it's probably better to hit the best prerequisites you can up front than it is to try to go at it with a team that is not the best team you can have.